Mushy Mushy, this is Podcast for Your Life. Welcome.
Hello, I'd like to place an order to go.
Oh, well, this is a podcast, so we actually don't do orders. I'm sorry.
Oh, awkward.
But we do have topics that we do sometimes, and today's topic is toys.
Oh, great. That was just what I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, well, today we're talking about toys.
Nice.
Which is, of course, kind of a broad topic in a lot of ways, but I think it can be interesting. We'll find out for sure. You know,
Toys were really interesting as a kid. So yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking though. Is like now the word toys doesn't have that like awesomeness that it once had.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, growing up, I mean, toys are basically just like these fun things, and they're super broad, and they come in all different shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm. But I think people.
Yeah, just like people. Toys are people.
Yeah, but it used to be like toys were life. Like, how many toys do you have? Do you have a lot of them? Do you like get new ones for Christmas or your birthday or whatever? It was like basically toys are the currency of children.
They were number one on the bucket list. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you want? I want toys.
Yep.
You go to the store. Why are we at the supermarket, Mom? I want toys.
Right.
So, what would you say would be like a functioning definition of toys?
Ooh. An object that's designed, like its existence is solely for play and entertainment.
Yeah.
Passing of time.
Yeah, I would agree.
Something like that.
Passing of time. Wow, that makes it sound like really sad.
Well, it is all just to make time, pass.
Wow. Is it? Mm-hmm. Dang, that's so depressing.
Yeah.
And dark.
Just to make the time between other things less boring. It's kind of like the human... It's a high human priority for sure. Make ourselves less bored.
Make yourselves less... Okay, I would agree with less bored, but not... I don't know if I would say that toys are to make time pass by quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Toys. Man, we're starting off on a dark note.
The clock is ticking from day one, so I'm just saying, even when you're a kid, it's just about time passing. So
here, pass the time with this Barbie doll.
Yeah.
You're going to be dead.
I mean, like all those like ridiculous old school toys, like think about just like they're not really ridiculous, but I mean like yo-yo and like the ball in a cup thing and like paddle ball, stuff like that was like rudimentary toys, or just a ball in general. It's like, all right, go kill some time.
Yeah. So I guess
parents are just trying to get their kids to like not get into trouble.
Yeah, because
do this.
The paddle ball, like the only thing you can really do with it is just keep going.
Yeah.
And so it's up to you to determine when to like start and stop and how long you can do it.
Yeah.
So I guess there's like sort of a competitive nature to something like that. Mm-hmm. But I think the function of toys, like obviously toys have the function of entertaining, of amusing. I think a lot of toys also help grow one's imagination. Like if you think about some of like the earliest toys, they were like toy soldiers. Mm-hmm. You can't really do anything with a toy soldier except imagine that this toy soldier or toy knight, we can go back to the Middle Ages before they had guns.
Yeah.
Toy knight, like the only thing they could really do with it is imagine some knight, going off and saving a princess or conquering an army or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's purely imagination.
That's a really good point. Yeah, and that's a much more positive way to look at it too. But you're right. I mean, like, you have to have imagination, otherwise it's just a piece of plastic. So like, there has to be something to it that it kind of gives just a little bit of a building block, and a kid has to take it further.
Yeah.
What's the context of this little toy? What's it doing? What's it trying to accomplish? What are the enemies? There's always like, that's the bad guys or whatever.
Bad guys, yeah.
So, it's a good point.
Yeah. At least from like how toys originated, I think as toys developed over the history of the world, I think they became more niche and more specialized.
Yeah.
Where, nowadays we have like these like retractable lightsaber deals and Nerf guns and, I guess any kind of doll would probably fall into the category of the imagination and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and it makes sense too, because those are formative years. So like having an outlet for creativity, it's not school per se. It's not like, when you're being specifically taught things and taken through units of learning or whatever, but it is important learning time. Like that's all incredibly important time for the formation of creativity and habits and just learning about the world, and imagination is probably I bet those early years make a huge difference.
Yeah, I bet there's probably studies out there that show like kids being creative as a kid and how that affects them as an adult. But that's not this podcast,
right? And we also can't ensure that will last. You know, how long will it be before the man, so to speak, or the system kind of just squashes that creativity in a young person with a lot of potential.
Man, there we go with another dark. What were some of your favorite toys as a kid, Jam?
Oh my gosh, surprisingly, I loved Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels, yeah, me too.
But the biggest thing I loved about it was the little track things you could do. Like you could clamp. Did you ever have that? Like you clamp this track to like the counter or the table or whatever.
Yeah.
And make these like, you know,
super loops.
Yeah, so cool. Loved that. Absolutely loved Legos.
Dude, okay, before we get into Legos, I gotta talk about Hot Wheels.
Okay, yeah.
So I had this little suitcase. Did you have the little suitcase that had like wheels and it had like slots for your cars? Did you have one of those? Because I totally did, and they like the slots are different sizes, so I like really enjoyed figuring out like no, it was like blue and had Hot Wheels in the front. Anyway, so when I was really young, like 4 years old, my playtime with these cars would consist of 50% like vroom vroom, you know, like driving around the stairs or whatever. The other 50% was lining all the cars up. Just lining them up.
I didn't care about that. I liked finding my favorite car, and I had like a favorite car at a time, like one that was my main one. I also always try to find the heaviest, but also favorite car. So I liked how it looked, and I wanted it to be heavy before all the reasons of the track and going around the loop and all that stuff. I didn't care about organizing the cars or lining them up or anything like that.
Nice.
We also had a crazy hodgepodge, which is probably why we didn't have a suitcase thing like that.
Yeah.
We had some hand-me-downs from like my older cousins and stuff, and then some that were new that we'd get for birthdays or Christmas or whatever.
It's also interesting how, as a kid, you take the original product and turn it into something else.
Yeah.
So like we had some friends who had this Hot Wheels roller coaster loop sort of a deal. So basically it was like the ramp thing that you had talked about, but it had like a some sort of propulsion mechanism where it would shoot the car down the track.
Oh yeah.
And so what we would do is we would take the whole track apart and just have the launcher, and then we would just launch the cars like a catapult to see which car would go the farthest.
Yeah.
There you go.
Before they came out with that, we would put the little ramp thing down our stairs at our house.
Oh, nice.
And then just put one of the ramps that then kind of increases its angle at the very, very end. So it'd go down the stairs, get a lot of speed, and then go and just like slam into the wall or whatever. And it was just like, man, hours of fun.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty awesome. And like it's awesome how certain kids are like super fine with just like the simplest of toys, or even something like another question would be like, how do you is a toy something that you like is intended for kids that you buy in like the toy aisle, or could it be anything like a sippy cup? Like we have some friends of ours who have younger kids, and you know, like they're like, we buy stuffed animals for them, but then at the end of the day all they want to do is hold onto this wooden spoon.
Yeah, right.
It's like, okay, that's their toy for the day.
Yeah,
they're super happy with it.
I guess it could be considered a toy. I typically think of a toy has to have been created and designed for play and fun or whatever.
Yeah,
like you can play with a spoon, but it's intended to be a spoon. It's like
true.
It's a kitchen tool or whatever. So I feel like,
sorry spoons,
technically the word toy has to pertain to like something that was designed and made to be for fun or whatever. But I mean, it's pretty awesome if you've got a kid that is amused enough by a kitchen utensil and will spend time doing that instead of crying or whatever or getting into trouble. To me, that seems like a huge win.
Yeah, because these parents that we've talked to are like, why did I spend $40 on that box of Legos when the kid's like super content with this tennis ball?
Yeah.
You mentioned Legos too.
That's
a classic.
That's a big. How do I say this? I know you have a place in your heart for Legos.
Yeah, I definitely have a special place in my heart for Legos, and I feel like I always will. The Lego Movie, when that came out a couple years ago, was the first movie I had cried at in a long time.
Whoa!
It like caught me off guard with how emotional it was, and just like the message of like, you don't have to grow up, it's okay. It just got me.
Yeah.
It just got me.
Yeah.
But I love Legos. I just feel like are one of the best toys that man has ever created.
Wow.
I just think that they are a brilliant invention
Yeah.
I think they're a brilliant invention when it comes to the like structural engineering of them.
Right.
The possibilities behind them and how they just like work together so well.
Yeah. And talk about creativity.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about that with action figures or whatever, or Hot Wheels, but even like with Legos, it's at its peak. I mean, so many possibilities. There's really like literally no rules. You can get the Lego things that tell you what to build. Like, hey, build this little, you know, the Eiffel Tower or whatever. But for the most part, people bought Legos so they could build whatever the heck they wanted.
Whatever the heck they wanted. Well, yeah, you can just recreate them any way you want, any way you imagine. So
yeah.
So I loved Legos. I would play for hours by myself, just in my room. So
I also loved Legos, and my mom would always say like, so my mom only had brothers growing up, and then she only had us 3 boys, and so she said that she could not wait until the age where we were in the Legos stage. Like, it was like, yeah, I'll do the little like rattle thing and like all the other little kid toys. But she was so thrilled about the day that we would be into Legos because she was excited about doing that with us. Aww. And like was not, you know, not that pumped about the other stuff. And so
do you feel that way about like your potential future kids?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm in the same boat. I think a lot of the dads I know are like, yeah, I couldn't wait till my kid was old enough so we could buy them Legos.
Yeah.
So that I could play with them.
I remember this one time. So my brothers and I, we had a big box of Legos because we would get inherited from cousins and stuff, and we were like kind of on the younger side of our cousins of that half of the family. So we would inherit a lot of other toys and stuff. So we had a big box of a huge mixed match of different Legos, and
nice.
We would play all together and like, you know, make different houses or whatever, and make buildings that had different characters. And one time I found this piece that was like a weird joint piece that would kind of open and close like an alligator. It had a little hinge thing to it, and so I called it. It was like this little assistant that my character had. And I called it CamCom because it was a camera and a computer.
Whoa.
This is obviously before cameras were part of computers.
That's legit.
And in my mind, I was like, this is incredible. Like, this is way in the future.
Wow.
Like, it's a camera, but it's also a computer, and it's like his butler and assistant, kind of like, what's it? Kind of like Alfred, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Alfred Jarvis.
That was my
CamCon.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. That sounds really ahead of the times, man.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I just wasn't smart enough to actually build it in any format other than Legos. So, you know.
Yeah, if you had actually developed that, it would have been really cool.
Right.
It was like you're destined from a young age to be a videographer. That's actually pretty awesome.
Yep. And now all my computers do have a camera with them. So it's like I'm living the future now.
Wow. This is like your childhood come true. All the things I made out of Legos that were like not like Star Wars scenes were like Duplo machine guns. So I don't know what it was. I just went through a phase where I was really into like toy soldiers. I was into like model airplanes and stuff like that. And so, yeah. And then when I was really young, I was into trains. So like Thomas the Tank Engine.
Which is why you have a train calendar now.
Which is why I have a train calendar now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Throwback to calendars.
Gosh, love it. Oh, so I could talk about Legos forever, but one question that we got to ask is, what toys, if any, do you play with now?
Still Legos. I have a little action figure at my desk actually for Legos. So.
Oh, nice. That's right. And you know those keychains that you have too.
Keychains, yep. I've got the Lego minifigures.
So the only toy I can think of that I still play with, I think it counts, so you have to let me know, is Frisbees.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's not exactly a Frisbee, but I play disc golf. And so they're a little different, but it's a toy. I mean, right? So started out as just a toy that people play with. So that's the only one I can think of that's actually part of my life on a daily basis.
Nice.
Yeah, like, isn't that weird? Just like, what else would there be? Very few things that really stick with you.
Yeah, we lose our innocence in our childhood and we stop playing.
Yeah, we just become more and more boring over time.
Wow. Toys. We used to be a lot less boring.
Toys. Forget about the fact that we're all dying for a little bit.
Oh, wow. This episode was really dark. Like, I think the burials episode was less dark than this.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Toys. It's okay if you're 21 years old and you need to play with Legos in your room for 3 hours after you get off job.
That sounds like a real story. Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for listening, guys. And as always, you can suggest a topic to us through Facebook or email or whatever. And thanks so much for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
It was a real story.
Oh.